Hello everybody to our next online expert seminar about Zehnder ComfoFresh. I'm very happy about the number of participants today. Thank you for joining. We have participants from all around the globe, mainly from Europe, but also I can see some participants from America and especially South America. So bienvenido to all of you. Talking about the Zehnder ComfoFresh air distribution system for comfort and a fresh air supply. And so Zehnder does not only offer the ventilation unit itself, we also offer the according air system. And therefore we have a wide range of products so that you can solution for every situation on site. My name is Adrian. I am working as a technical project engineer at Zehnder Group Sales International. And today with me, my colleague, Piret Larsen.
Yeah. My name is Piret Larsen, and I work in Zehnder Group Sales International as Business Development Manager. And we will be holding this webinar together with Adrian.
So let's get into the topic, I would say. So it all began with natural ventilation, which means you simply open the door and then the thermal effects are used to move the air. So you have a different air pressure in the outside compared to the inside, and you also have a different pressure from the bottom of the building to the top of the building. So we are using this thermal to move the air, but we do not filter this air. We do not have heat recovery. And we do not have a control of the volume flows. So we are talking about mechanical ventilation, especially about central units today. In the last webinar, we were talking about decentralized solutions. But for decentralized solutions, you do not need an air distribution system. So today we concentrate on central solutions where we need an air distribution system. So we have two fans in our ventilation units to get enforced ventilation. Yeah. When we are talking about air distribution systems, I would firstly like to present our system. So what you all know probably, what is the most common system is the so-called junction piping. You all know this from bigger applications like shopping malls or sport halls, offices, or huge buildings. And these systems are typically built with metal ducts, especially spiral ducts. And what you do there is that you have a central pipe, a supply line, a big supply line, and extract line, which has the whole volume flow. And from there, you are spreading to each single room. So you have a lot of junctions. What we are doing in our system, this is often used for residential or domestic purposes. It's the so-called star-shaped piping system. And therefore, we typically use plastic ducts. That's also what we do. And the principle behind it is quite easy. You have the star in the middle, which is actually the manifold. And from that manifold, you are going with a single pipe to each single room. So every pipe has just one connection to one outlet. So we are going room by room on it, not like the junction system where you go from room to room. And this has the effect that you get a small pipe cross section because you have lower volume flows in each pipe. And this is very useful for residential purposes because you want to hide the ducts in the ceiling, in the floor, or even in the walls. And therefore, we have three different systems, 3 different products, which we will show later on. What is also a benefit is an easy flow adjustment. You can adjust every room. You have no sound transmission between the rooms. And it's also very simple for installation and very flexible as well. Yeah. At this point, we also need to take a look at the volume flows which we need for residential housings. And therefore, we have in Germany, we have the German standard, which is the DIN 1946 Part 6. In other countries, you have other standards, but they are nearly the same. They all take into account the area, or I should rather say the volume of a building, the infiltration, because it's a different if you have a very high building standard like a passive house, which is very airtight, you do not have any infiltration. So we also need to take this into account. And of course, also the occupation of the building. So in Germany, we are calculating with 30 cubic meters per hour per person. And yeah, in the table below, you can see airflow calculation, typical single family house. And what you can see there is that the volume flows are in between 12 and 38 cubic meters per hour. So these volume flows are not that high, and therefore you can use a pipe which has a diameter of 90 millimeters or even 75 millimeters. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you, Adrian. So I would then take it over from here and give a more specific overview of the products, of the tubes, and possible solutions. With Adrian, we will meet again in some minutes while he is preparing to have a practical part in this webinar as well.
Yeah, see you later.
Yeah, so in Zehnder air distribution systems, we have let's say the tubes or ducts. These are the main things that will distribute the air, and we have 2 possibilities. One is the on-floor system that we are calling also flat 51. The tube that has 2 layers, the corrugated outside layer and then the smooth Clinside interior layer. This interior layer makes it more difficult for the dust to accumulate on the surface, which is also helping to keep the tubes cleaner. But in addition to this, we have also applied some certificates for our tubes to also have the confident proof that the tubes are hygienical. The Hygiene Institute des Ruhrgebiets, as the Institute of Hygiene, was founded in 1901. And also why I am talking this is that quite often outside of Germany, and I'm even not sure how many people in Germany knows exactly the logos and the certificates that we are applying to our products. What do they mean and where do they come from? So that's why I give a small little background information. And this Institute of Hygiene is also focusing on to contribute and improve the environmental conditions, and also to have better and more quality products on the markets. So in this way that we can say that we have manage to apply with their products to this kind of a certificate that is additional value and shows the quality of our products. But this is still not all. We also have the SKZ certificate for our tubes, and this das Kunststoffzentrum is let's say independent research center that is focusing mainly on plastic products. So the plastics in constructions, the plastics in food industry, and the plastics in medicine, where the quality of the product is extremely important. And yeah, this institution is also focusing on the research and development of good products in the market. And we have also tested our tubes in this or in their laboratory, and we have received the green light for the quality and the safetiness and the, let's say, the life expectancy in that way, that it is a strong enough product to maintain its shape and value. Yes, and also why this is important is that if we think about that, how much plastic is around us in our daily business, then to have quality products, especially in the system that is distributing the air that we are breathing, is extremely important. And for that, we are the top players in the field. But then to quickly talk about the ComfoTube Flat 51, the tube itself as well. The name comes from the shape of the tube, as the height of the tube is 51 millimeters and the width is 138 millimeters. Therefore, it's quite nice to install it inside of the construction layers or inside of the walls or behind the ceilings, making it, let's say, a good value proposition for the interior design. That nowadays no one wants to see the technical solutions visible, and therefore we can hide the tubes. The tube itself is made from high quality plastic, high density polyethylene. This is also a product that is quite often used in food industry. Also the tube, it can be centrally adjusted considering the air volumes. And it's easy to clean. It has high leak proofness, low weight, and another good point to focus when we are focusing on the hygiene is that this product is a corrosion proof. Therefore, good for the installer as it's easy to install and lightweight, and then also good for the health who are afterwards living in the house where they have installed this system. Here is one sample where the tube can be fitted in or installed. That it's the tamping layer of the floor. So therefore, the ventilation works can be already done before the interior design works starts. And also when we, as Adrian also mentioned, the air volumes that are important, and that is actually one of the starting points when we are planning a solution or system. Then what we can consider is that as the maximum design flow rate for flat tube is 45 cubic meters per hour or 12.5 liters per second in that way, depending on the country where are you from and where what units are used in that country. So, and here also the pressure drops for the materials, the pens and cross pieces that are in the system range. Some quick samples of the installation possibilities. Also, as mentioned before, that it can be installed inside of the floor layer, force surface, and in the end it will be designed. As the tube itself is flexible, longer distances, it's possible to have out a crossing piece that will also then to install and to adjust where the tube has to go and where it starts from. But also for like a very sharp bends and turns, we have the 90-degree bends. Another example, also if the surface layer where we would like to install the tube is not deep enough, there is the crossing piece, so quite many options how to do and what to do. So it can be really, let's say, challenging to find a place where this system cannot be installed in that way. And also having different manifold boxes, sorry, but plenum boxes and grill mountings, then we can have it in floor, or in this side of, on the picture, we will see that it is going actually downstairs. So we can keep still all the tube layers at one floor, and with the easy adjustments, it's possible to cover 2 floors. And also some small examples of renovations. So here, if we would need to consider that we have many different rooms where the supply air can be, then we would have one main duct. We would need to have a silencer between all the different rooms to make sure that the noise from one room will not be carried to another one. But if there is a tube that will go into one room only, and all the rooms have their own separate tubes, then this sound transfer between the rooms is not possible through ventilation. And therefore also it gives better indoor climate when we are talking about the sound levels or the noise levels in the room. The other tube type that we have in our portfolio is the in-floor tube, as a round tube, where we have 2 possible sizes, ComfoTube 75 and ComfoTube 90. For this tube as well, we have the hygiene certificate and the SKZ certificate to prove the quality plastic that we are using. And here is also a good example of the tube itself, that the outside corrugated surface that allows the tube to bend, and also then the Clinside inner surface where the air then flows. Yeah, the tube, it's circular and flexible. Also high density polyethylene, easy to clean, high leak proofness, low weight, corrosion proof, and high leak proofness in a way that even the tube itself comes in a 50-meter or 20-meter roll, and usually it is cut exactly the right size that would be needed to get the air from the manifold box to the desired room. Therefore, there is no cuts in the tube and there is no leaking possibilities available. Even if the tube is 12 meters long or in length, we can install it in one piece, making the system more secure for the leakages. And for this tube, this is also that the stiffness of the tube allows it also to leave it inside of the concrete. For example, that the tubes will be installed into the concrete layer, and then afterwards on site are covered with the liquid concrete, and that will start drying, then this would be an possible solution, and in that way the ventilation tubes will be let's say fixed quite confirmly or concretely. But it's also possible to have the tubes behind the suspended ceiling, or if the, let's say, gypsum wall thickness is wide enough, it can be installed inside of the walls. Here for the ComfoTube, the maximum design flow rates for 75 are 29 cubic meters per hour, which is around 8 liters per second. And for ComfoTube 90, it's 45 cubic meters per hour, which is then around 12 liters per second. And also we can see from the graphs on the right the pressure drops for the tubes in that flow rate, and also what is the pressure drop for the system elements. Some samples of how this system can be installed. As said before, creativity is quite allowed with this system and easy to follow. Also, if we have a, how to say, from the unit, the tubes will start being distributed in a bigger range, then we can use this ComfoFix to connect the tubes to each other nicely and firmly in a way that if there would be something needed to be changed, we can take down the tubes quite nicely without opening the metal tape here that would then release many tubes if they are connected together or fixed together. Yeah, and here is the sample that was described earlier, that we can also leave the tubes inside of the concrete layer. For example, that if there will be a house with more than one floor, then we can leave the tubes into the floor surface and afterward cut it or continue it with the tubes when the floor surface in that way has dried out, then we can continue with the construction works. And here is one close-up of the system and solution. Yeah, some samples more. And one of the probably most commonly used solution that we are leaving the tubes behind the suspended ceiling. And this picture is here just to, as it's a very nice shot from the air, and it shows that how many different possibilities there would be to distribute the air. And in that way, it's a time saver that once let's say the walls are up, then it's quite difficult to get everybody on the site to get the order done, who does what works when and then. And the more work is done in the earlier stage of the construction, the better it is to keep the timelines. Also in the system, important part is the silencer. For us, we are offering ComfoWell silencer. This is a silencer that is in different sizes depending on the air volumes and depending on the silencer needed for this specific system. Also, what is good to know is that this silencer is something that you can see the opening panels here, that it's possible to unscrew the screws and take out this silencing material here if there is the full system cleaning planned. And thanks to this, we can also, when the silencer is opened, we can do the tube system cleaning quite nicely, and it's helpful. And also that part of the air distribution system is the, let's say, the final elements, the grills and valves. In our range, we have nice homogeneous design supply and extract air valves, ComfoValve Luna E for the extract air and ComfoValve Luna S for the supply air. These valves, they look very similar in design because quite often the design for the supply and extract air is different, and in open kitchens or open kitchen living room solutions, it would be good if from the interior perspective, it's good if the valves look as similar as possible. And as the valves, they are rather very modest design, then in the white ceilings, they do not catch the eye that much that it may happen with some other designs. And also that the setting of the valves is in a way that the height of the valve will always remain the same. The cover plate is just to fix and hide then the adjustment possibilities for the valve. But also if the interior designer allows, and there would be, then there are also designer grills available for the system. This is something that can be used as a design element also for the homes. And there we have also many options with different shapes and different colors. We have the designer grills as stainless steel version or white version, and the ComfoGrid Linea here is available in glass look black and white and brushed stainless steel. Yes, and when also the air volume is important, and with, let's say, with one tube, it's not possible to reach the level that you would want to have. Then for ComfoGrid Linea, it's possible to connect two tubes. So in that way, we can have one outlet with up to 90 cubic meters per hour air volume. This is quite commonly used for living rooms or dining areas. And yeah, in the below, there are just some samples of the grill housings that we have in our portfolio, depending on the request where you would like to, or where there is the need to install the supply and extract air. For supply, a floor would be also a possibility, wall or ceiling, and for extract air, then it's possible to have it in a higher ceiling, higher wall or in the ceiling level. And to just finish more or less this air distribution part, that we have the tubes that are inside of the house, and then we also need to transfer the air from outside to inside somehow. And with these pre-insulated pipes, ComfoPipe Plus and ComfoPipe Compact, we have already pre-done one job on the building site, which is insulating the tubes. So we can just connect the tubes to each other one by one. They are in 1 meter lengths, and as there is also no need for screws or any drilling, then this saves the installation time. A very quick overview of one sample or mounting air distribution system solution where it was a small mock-up building where the metal duct ventilation system was installed, and also the air distribution, plastic air distribution system was installed, where we had the supply and extract the air locations or valve locations in the same places, and also the unit and then the outside and exhaust air ducts. And based on this mock-up, we measured the time that it will take for the installation, and the results were that installing ComfoFresh solution took half the time that it was with the metal ducts. The main reasons were this, that the metal ducts usually come as long as 3-meter ducts, and you need to connect them, you need to cut them. If you need to do a turn, you need to cut the tube again, install a bend, and then continue with the tube. But with plastic tube, you carry around and you can carry quite many meters at one time. Also, and the delivery of the systems, the metal ducts are usually delivered on the site in a bigger range, where sometimes it could be that the edges are sharp, and also if the tubes are open, then the dust from the construction site or from during the transportation time could then still stay inside of the metal ducts. Zehnder tubes are packed in carton boxes, as also in metal tube cases, but with the ventilation tube itself, this is transported in rolls, and both openings have end cap that will then prevent the dust and let's say construction dust to enter the room while the tubes are still being installed. And these end caps are something that should be also used during the installation if the final element has not been connected to the system yet. A quick summary is that the advantages for the Zehnder air distribution system, that it meets hygiene requirements. There is the lower air leakage rate and higher air tightness, as there are less cut sides, and then also less riveting to connect again the ducts. Diversity on installation opportunities. It can be installed in quite many different surfaces, and also with the different sizes and shapes, it is a space saver. When we think about the suspended ceiling, for example. Nice packaging keeps the goods safe and avoids damages. There are installation instructions available for all the products in mounting manuals or then as YouTube videos. Easier to install. The plastic tubes can be cut with the regular knife. There is no need for special tools for that. And also connecting the elements do not need any riveting, and there are just rubber seals to confirm the air tightness, and then there is the clamp for locking the connection. And one big advantage is the much faster installation. Yes, but before moving then to the next slide, then with this summary, yeah, we have now Adrian ready, who will then do a practical demonstration to kind of go over some of the things that were discussed just now. And as always, the eye is the better king. So yeah, I will give now the stage to Adrian, and then you'll hear more about the ventilation tubes.
Yes, thank you, Piret. Here we are again. So for the maintenance of our air distribution system, it's very important to change the filter on a regular basis. So we recommend to change the filter every 3 to 6 months. So you change the filters at a unit itself and at the extract air wells where we have these filter caps. And for the air distribution system or the tubes itself, there is actually nothing to do, but there could be some special cases. For example, during construction, when there are a lot of craftsmen on site and other craftsmen, for example, masons, do not care about the ventilation system or the air distribution system, so they could pollute it. This can happen during construction. Or did you ever think about why there is no switch on or switch off at our units? There are two reasons for that. And firstly, it's very important that there is constant air exchange when you have very airtight buildings, because otherwise you get humidity problems, and this could also end up in the spreading of bacteria or viruses. So even if you are on vacation for 2 weeks, you should not shut down the unit, set it on the lowest fan speed, which is the absent mode. And the second reason is, if you would shut down the unit, you could get any uncontrolled volume flows into your system, because there are pressure differences. So you could, for example, take out air from the inside through the supply air ducts, and there you do not have a filter, so you could pollute your air distribution system. And if such a case happens, you should know that there is a way to clean our tools, and therefore we have a cleaning set which comes along with this bag. And this is quite simple. It's a shaft which is 15 meters long, and at one end you have a brush which is rotating, and at the other end you have a socket to put it in a drilling machine. Yeah. And it also comes along with adapters for the valves. So I'll show it to you. We have 3 adapters for all kinds of valves, for round and rectangular drills. Here I have a round one. And what we are doing for the cleaning procedure is just get out the valve. Here, this is an extract valve with the filter cap. And then you put in this adapter. This side is for a vacuum cleaner. Here you can put in the vacuum cleaner adapter. And here you connect the vacuum cleaner. On the other hand side, you put in the brush and go through the whole system. And on this side, you vacuum it. So at the end, it's clean. What we are doing on the other side, we will show you now. Yeah, thank you. So typically, we are going into the manifold. Here we have a manifold. And you just need to open it. Unscrew the cover plate. And then you have access to our air distribution system. And here you are putting in the brush, which is rotating. Get it in. meters long. So now I can feel we are at the end. So we go back. For checking if the brush is already here. You just need to open the adapter again, and we can see the brush is here. So here we had the vacuum cleaner on. I just not put it on because of sound issues, otherwise you would not hear me. If you have done this, you put it back into the tube, put the adapter back, connect the vacuum cleaner, and then you take it out again. And always keep the vacuum cleaner on, so that the tube is clean at the end. What you can also do is, if you do not have the opportunity to connect it to both sides, you can also do it from one side. For that, you can connect the adapter, and here you have a small hole for the brush as well. So you can take in the brush and a vacuum cleaner using this adapter, and then you have it from one side. From both sides, you will get a better, you have a better result, but if there's no possibility, you can also do it from one side. So this is how we can clean our air distribution system, but take care with other devices. We do not recommend to use other cleaning tools, because this is especially developed for our air distribution system. And the other way around, you should not use our tool for other systems, because there is a risk to damage the tubes, and then you have a problem which you cannot fix without any bigger measures. So that's it from my side. Thank you. I will give back to Piret now.
Yeah, thank you, Adrian, for this practical part, and talking about also the importance of the cleaning of the tubes and the system, and also giving a visual how it is done with the plastic tubes for Zehnder. So, but also I would use this chance to talk about our next webinar, the installation options for radiant heating and cooling ceiling systems, and also give you a quick time to and the opportunity to register yourself to the next webinar already now. By just scanning the QR code that is on the slide. The next webinar will take place then on April the 15th. That's a Thursday, as the third Thursday of the month, as the regular norm for us lately. And it will be the Central European time, 2:30 till 4 p.m. Sorry, 3 p.m. So yeah, my bad. Yeah, but also we will distribute information about the webinar in our social media platforms and also in LinkedIn. So it's possible to register later as well, or share the information. But with this, we would move then to the Q&A session, and also big thanks for participating to this webinar. Big thanks also to Adrian for the practical part and demonstration. And then if there are any questions, we would take them with Yeah, and the questions can be then added to the. Okay, we have here the set.
So there was a question for you, Piret, before I came to the maintenance part. So how often you should clean an air distribution system? What is our recommendation? So as I have said now later on, actually it's not necessary to clean the air distribution system. Only if you have a problem. If, for example, there is pollution and you do not get fresh air out of a valve and you're thinking, hey, there's only the opportunity that the pipe or the comfort tube is polluted, then you can also inspect it going in with a camera. And if you see something, you can use the cleaning tool to get it out.
Yes. So thank you for this. I was just going through that. There is a thank you for Adrian for the simulation, and that it's important. Thank you.
There is another question. Is it necessary to use a manifold box in the distribution system, or can it be done without it? So actually, you can do it from everywhere you want. You just need access to the air distribution system. So as I already showed, you can also do it from the valve itself, connecting the vacuum and the brush both into the valve. So this is also possible just from one side. Or yeah, you could do it after the silencer. From everywhere you get access to the air distribution system.
So there is also a question that why is ComfoFlat 51 almost 3 times more expensive than ComfoTube 75? Yeah, there is a price difference, but this is mainly due to the production of the tube itself and how this mold is used, and also this that it's the round tube. It's easier to do, and also to have the inner layer there, and this is the main reason for the more expensive flat tube.
There's also a question, what is the difference between lunar extract valve and lunar supply valve? So there's a difference because for the extract valve, you can connect this filter cap. This is not possible for the supply air valve. And here it's also built up in another way. It's an extract valve. So the airflow is a little bit different to the supply air valve. And you also have different possibilities to regulate the flow. So these are two different valves.
You can tell that if that it can be combined flat and round tube with the fittings you have. Yes, we have the junction part where we can go over from flat to round tube as a straight one, and also with the 90-degree bend one. So if at one part of the building you would like to use flat tube, then it's no problem to go over the round tube at one point if there would be a need. So two comfort tubes need to be glued. There are patches where connection between tubes is very loose. No, no glue should be used in the system. It is that we have the O-ring, the rubber seals, that is usually installed to the second, let's say, second full corrugated line of the tube that will create then the air tightness, and then with the O-ring we will connect it to the next piece. Would it be then the bend or the grill housing, and that is then locked with the locking clamp. So there is no need for glue.
How do you connect the ComfoAir 70 to the tube? So actually, the ComfoAir 70 is a decentralized unit. So usually you do not connect it to an air distribution system. But for the ComfoAir 70, we have the opportunity to connect a second boom, what we have explained in the last webinar. And you can also see it here. So we have a second boom connection, and you can use a bend which is going from ComfoTube 75 to a flat, or it could also be just ComfoTube 75. And there you have a second boom connection where you can connect the air distribution system.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and then we have additional work on the last question before regarding the glue and comfort tubes, that it was actually meant the ComfoPipe Compact, the pre-insulated ducts. And there also we should not use any glue, because in a way that if in some reasons in the future we would need to open the system, it will not be possible afterwards. But in some cases, depending on the climate also, what is done is that the pipes themselves from the outer surface covered with this the tape that is also then oh, now I'm struck a little bit with the English word, but anyway, it can be the connection point can be fixed or secured with ducting tape outside of the pipe itself. Can we see the connection for vacuum cleaner?
Yeah, that's it. You can connect this to the adaptation, to the adapter of the grill. And you can lock it, and there you can put in the vacuum.
Maybe it's good also to show the adapter for the TVA and how these two pieces will be connected.
Yeah. So we have different adapter sets here for the rectangular grills as well. So basically we have 3 different types, and these adapter sets come along with the cleaning tool. So with this tool you can use it for any application of our system.
Are there any favorable locations for the supply or extract valves in the room, on the floor or in the ceiling? Then this also depends on the possibilities, but with this system, both for supply, both could be that we can install it onto the floor, but we can also leave it in wall or into the ceiling, depending on where it's reasonable to distribute the tubes and where to take them. That if it's in some ways it will be more reasonable to have them or to keep them in the floor. Sometimes it's more reasonable to keep them behind the suspended ceiling and to not then make the additional turns to bring them to the floor. So this is very individual, but with both ways we will have the airflow circulating in a room that the that the area where the people are standing and staying, that there we will have a fresh air. For extract valves, it's always important to have them in the higher wall part or then in the ceiling, because we are extracting the warmer air and the more humid air, and this is based on the physical conditions of the different temperatures of the air. The extract air will warm up and will rise above the ceiling or to the ceiling.
So, Piret, there are still some more open questions, but we are already 10 minutes over time.
Yes.
I would say we close the session and contact the or give an answer to that open questions later on via email.
Yes, and also, like, if you would have some additional questions coming up, or you will spend some time afterwards thinking about the solutions here, and some questions will rise up, then you can see our email addresses on the screen, and then please feel free to contact us and present your questions.
Yeah, we will be happy to answer any questions. Yeah, sure.
Exactly. But in that way, I would say thank you for participating. I hope you have enjoyed the webinar, that there was some interesting points for you. And yeah, see you in our next webinars.
Thank you. Goodbye.
Bye-bye.